Hello, everybody. Welcome to the January 27th libp2p Weekly Sync. If you have agenda items, please add them now. Please add your name to the attendees list, and we will get started with weekly updates. Start off with ARSH.
Hey guys, so my main focus has been the libp2p introspection work. So we have the scaffolding, wiring, and interfaces for it in place. We have the first draft of the introspection service in place, and today I raised a PR for the all the swarm work that we need in order to introspect the swarm. There are there is some data slash metrics that I'm still not sure how to source. I put them as comments on the PR, and Rowl is going to take a look when he gets time. The next thing for me will be to write end-to-end test for the whole introspection feature. So basically spin up multiple hosts, open streams, and then introspect each host and make sure we get the right data. That's it. That's it on my side for now.
Sweet. Any questions, comments for ARSH? Oh, sweet. All right, next up is me. So did a release candidate of the refactor last week, fixed a couple things. It is good to go. We are launching it tomorrow, shipping it to the wind. So look forward to that. We'll get a blog post and all of that jazz out as well.
With a video.
With a video.
Async away.
So ship that this week, and then I'm going to spend a good portion of the rest of this week working on the 2020 roadmap for JS libp2p after talking with the browsers connectivity group last week, and then going to work on finalizing dates and estimates for a content writing plan so we can get that done. Any questions for me? No, perfect. All right, Yusuf.
I finally wrote up an issue that links to all my PRs, and I made progress on all the PRs. So I think that the core changes are pretty good. The interfaces, I think, are decent. The Pure Store seems to work, and now we figured out that the thing that I thought was going to be a problem in GoLibp2p, probably not that big a deal. We're just going to include the local LAN addresses in peer records by default, since that's what we're sharing now unsigned. So now it'll be the same as before. We're just signing them. If later we want to distinguish between like local addresses and publicly relevant addresses, we'll do that in a separate piece of work. So then everything is pretty close to ready. I got to fix I left this silly bug in the branch for Rizzo's pub sub work, which he caught, and I'm gonna go fix that after this. But then I think we're getting pretty close to being able to merge all this signed record stuff. So that's pretty cool, yeah. And then we can, I guess one thing I haven't actually done is try to run test ground simulation using signed records, just with peers identifying using them. That might be kind of fun to do. But I don't think we need to block the PRs on it or anything, because there's nothing destructive.
I had some thoughts about that. Well, I actually thought about that, and I don't think it's gonna give us a lot of any data points, honestly.
Yeah, there's not enough there yet. Like once there's a DHT and some peers have signed records and some don't, that might be interesting.
I think that would be the case, but also I don't think it's like, this is going to be a conflicted feature at all, and it doesn't have performance. We don't need any benchmarking. Like, I don't think there is, a strong rationale to use it to create a test plan. I think you're fine with a unit test, honestly, unless you want to like really stitch together from various versions, somewhat with peer.
Since you mentioned performance, I wouldn't be surprised if there is a very slightly. I mean, like you could probably measure a performance hit, since we are like signing more stuff, and there's like we're doing a little bit more now than we were before. So if you were really, but that says you'd really notice.
We only signed the record once when process change, right? So it's like,
yeah, I guess it's just like on the verification end, maybe like we have to, but it's probably not says you'd really care about it. Like I think it's definitely worth doing. I mean, we should do it, but there might be like a small performance impact to doing this.
So what could be interesting is to test signed peer records with ED25519 keys.
Oh, yeah.
Because I think that could potentially have an impact, because
That's
ED25519
true.
is way easier.
Are we using the inline key in this case?
We are always, in the record envelope, we always send the full key. So you're going to be sending less data with ED25519 as well. But whether they're inline in the PRID, I think, is still dependent on that global variable, like whether to inline
Yeah, but
keys
no,
or
I'm
not.
talking about the cost of the signature verification is way lower with ED25519.
Right.
Like it's strong suit. One of its
That's
strong
cool. Yeah, that would be interesting to see. But anyway, I guess mostly just going to try and wrap this up. If there's any other things that come up as I'm like, getting ready to pull the trigger, then maybe that'll add a little bit of delay. But I think we should be able to merge them soon. And then, otherwise, go back to work on the test plan for secure data transfers to get noise flexed a little bit, and then just generally play with noise and IPFS together. That's my other thing. So, yeah.
Cool. Any other questions, comments for Yusuf? Nope. All right. Rowl.
Right. Hey, folks. So I've been working on test ground compositions. It's almost there. Right now I'm hitting a problem with the logging, where now we have multiple runners that are logging to the same log output, and therefore, but it's not thread safe. So that's where like writes are getting intermingled. So that I'm working on that. I'm gonna go the easy route right now and just add a mutex, and that's it, and call it a day. In the future, we might want to add some multiplexing so that we can identify which group, which composition group the logs are actually coming from. We shipped the content routing plan, which was a long time in the making. It was pretty intense. It's now on Jacob's side of the fence right now for execution. So that's pretty exciting. We're getting this effort started and really ramping up. I also finished the test ground milestone 0.1 planning. I've been helping ARSH and guiding ARSH with the introspection work, which is going really well. And by the end of this week, which is the deadline that we have for this, we expect to have an initial version that we can throw off onto the other side for testing. So this is the group that's implementing Phantom needs it and is depending on this. So yeah, and then I've been tackling some internal PL processes. Now, in this week, I'm going to be finishing the test run compensations feature. I'm going to be performing the issue migration for Go libp2p. There's an ETH 2.0 networking call that I'm participating in, which I'm going to try to, I don't think I'll get to it, to do a bit more multi-select 2.0 legwork before this call, because I know that, so it would be great, Yusuf, to like have a really strong status update on noise, because ETH 2.0 depends on noise. We haven't been able to give them multi-select 2.0 yet, but if we can go into the call and say, hey, noise, we've got like it's down, it's finalized, we have a Go libp2p implementation that's conforming to the spec, these are the performance characteristics, right? It performs better than SecIO, blah, 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 and like all these things. And we also are working with the JS team to land interoperability test. That would be an awesome update for the group. So if we can make that happen, Yusuf, that would be amazing. You muted.
Just when is the call happening?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Okay, I'll come up. I'll hit you up tomorrow. Get you the status update.
Yeah, especially if we have any metrics on how noisy is compared to TLS and SecIO, any conclusive metrics. That would be
sweet. Yeah, I'll see what I can get.
Sweet. Awesome. And then I'm gonna do the final review of the signed peer routing records, and yeah, close off. So this week, we are shipping as well milestone 0.1 of test ground. So we're going to be working very closely with with Anton and everybody else on the team to make sure that that lands. And I've got some interviews to do. So that's pretty much everything from my side. I hope I haven't forgotten anything that's important.
Any questions for Rowl or comments? No, one twice sold. All right, Mike.
Hey guys, yep, I'm in my car. I have to jump out in a second. Have a medical thing I drove to, but basically, I'm still kind of like mired in some internal PL stuff in terms of the performance reviews, leveling, HR stuff, things like that. I am optimistic though that 1 to 2 weeks from now, I'll kind of be able to really like rejoin the team like 100%. And my basic goal is to make the OKRs happen. I linked to them, but I mean, you guys probably remember this from from Costa Rica. It's about onboarding. It's about better supporting IPFS, getting the project more organized. That's more on Rowl. But yeah, so that's where I'm at.
Sweet. Any questions for Mike? Nope. All right. Next up, Rizzo. You're muted if you're talking.
Yes, finally. I have been trying to press the mute button for at least 30 seconds and it wasn't responding. So yeah, I didn't do much this last week. Like I'm mostly waiting to get started on the implementation of the scoring function. I think we need to do some analysis of the proposed parameters. We do have, like an initial parameters that we want to use, and I'm thinking about possibly running some simulation to see the effect, or at least do mathematical analysis with some simulation results to see, like what are the breaking points for the parameters that we're going to use for the scoring function. So other than that, I haven't done much. That's my update.
Yeah, so for the scoring function, it's very important to define what cases it is gonna, like what is the scope of the scoring function?
Yeah, so Raul, the scoring function, like in the way it's gonna be black and PubSub, like also I think that we should use the scoring function to decide on gossip. So, like we shouldn't even bother sending gossip if we have a negative score. So we effectively drop it off the network.
Yeah, but Rizzo, that is too generic.
Right. So, like there are specifics of the attacks and there are the general attack. So the general effect of the Sybil attack is that you make a bunch of nodes that are not doing anything or they're trying to actively sabotage the network, right? So this is what the scoring function is attempting to defend against. So the specifics, for example, there is a graph attack. Yes, it defends against the graph attack. But we could also go a step further and actually detect specific attacks and start using the blacklisting functionality for gross misbehavior. So like the scoring function is intended to capture what happens if you make a whole bunch of nodes that are basically are not contributing to the network, right? So that's what it tries to defend against.
So these are. I fully understand the scoring function. We've been in like a meeting that was specifically for the scoring function. Like a bunch of us, like I fully understand the scope of this. We need to model and we need to like do the thought process, right? So we have right now a scoring function with 6 variables, which look good, which look fine, right? But we haven't walked through the different potential attacks, behaviors, like in general, like behaviors at the level of gossip, behaviors at the level of the mesh, behaviors like the application itself that we are trying.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking of simulating to get some numbers. So basically, to get like a better tuning for the parameters.
Rizzo, wait a minute. Before a simulation, we need to write down what we are expecting to see in the simulation and what we're going to be measuring. Right now, there is no visibility in this work, and this is what I'm concerned about because Filecoin depends on this, and like they have problems in the live network because of this, and we like all we have is a document that outlines 6 variables. That's it. There is no rationale behind those 6 variables. Like we haven't walked through, what are exactly the things that we're trying to defend against, and how do we think that particular incarnation of a formula is that particular equation is going to play out. right? Like we haven't done this, and yeah, it's fine to simulate, but we can perform like it's a moving target, so we can perform hundreds and thousands of simulations, but if we haven't locked down what is our hypothesis, right, and this is what we need to get to, what are the hypotheses that we want to test, right, with that function actually behaves well against, right? I think this is the key work, because it's going to help a lot of people to understand what you're working on. Rizzo.
Roll, you're muted.
Yeah, no, I finished talking.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay, you finished the round. Okay, round accepted. Round accepted.
Good. So let's do this, and please like ping me if you need help in like setting the structure up to do this analysis, theoretical analysis, before we jump into a simulation. I'm 100% with you that we need the simulation, but we need to first scope down exactly what we want to simulate, because otherwise it's going to be a moving target and we're never going to finish, because we're always going to get into discussions. What if?
Okay, fine. I mean, I prefer to just write the code for the simulation instead of writing the talking about the simulations, but that's fine.
All right. Any other questions for Rizzo? No? All right. That brings us to the end of the updates. Is there anything anybody else wanted to talk about or cover? Once. Twice. Sold. All right. You can have 10 minutes back, and we will see you all next week.
Fantastic.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.